Hello, here we are at Her Story podcast. With me is First Nations musician Alice SKYE, who's an artist on the rise. She lends her time ahead of an Australia-wide national tour next month. Hi Alice, welcome to Her Story.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So, I wanted to have a bit of a chat about your second album, I Feel Better, But I Don't Feel Good. You released it last July, is that right?
Yes.
What was it like to release in COVID, first of all?
I think anything during that time was bizarre. Just existing was weird. So it sort of felt, I felt a bit disconnected from it. I think at that point in Melbourne, we were allowed to have two guests at our house. So my bandmates that I recorded it with did come over and we had a nice dinner to celebrate it being released. I think I was most surprised about, I don't know about surprise, but a big thing I noticed when we released it in July was that people were sending me messages saying that it was really relatable in lockdown, and a lot of the songs really resonated. I guess like one of the songs is also, it's just straight up called "Stay in Bed," which was like a lot of what I did in the pandemic. But I think that was interesting because I didn't write it during the pandemic or knowing that I was going to be releasing it in a pandemic. It's just, I guess, someone like me who I like to spend a lot of time at home and alone. So it was sort of, already, I guess that's different if you're extroverted and you're out all the time. So I don't know, that was an interesting and kind of cool part of the process.
Oh, very nice. So, what did inspire the album? Talking about that, we're sort of on the theme. I know it's hard to put like it into like two sentences or whatever.
No, it's I think I you know I write I'm writing things down usually as a way of putting my feelings somewhere. So that's usually what my first album was very much that. They were from, like, the songs came mostly from journal entries I did when I was a teenager, and I feel like this time around was not very different, but just I'm at a different stage of my life, and I suppose I sing a lot about mental health because it's very present in my life. Stay in bed, not initially, but now since it being released, I was diagnosed with a chronic illness, and so it's funny to notice the themes of the album sort of after releasing it.
Uh-huh. Well, do you mind if we go into that? So, what I don't want to dip too far, but how does it feel now knowing and I guess putting the pieces together?
It's been a journey like anything, I suppose, but it's been really helpful to I've had long-term pain for a long time and have endometriosis, and I think I've found so much comfort in people talking about it in public. So it's been nice to kind of have that. I think there's lots of online communities for things like that. But to be able to connect with people on those themes through my music is not something that I thought I would do. And that's been really, just so nice to connect with people that are going through similar situations, I guess.
Yeah, so do you think you will be able to work on it, sort of do any I know it's probably a bit too early, but is it something you'll be talking about with, I guess, young women moving forward?
I post about it on like social media sometimes. So I feel like social media sometimes feels like you're kind of like shouting into the void, but sometimes that can, just knowing that you're not alone in your experiences can be helpful. But also just taking my time. I'm new to the language of it all myself, so not trying to dive in too deep, but have really appreciated all the support I've gotten from people that have reached out and fans and things like that. Something I never predicted. So
absolutely,
just really grateful.
And it's nice to see. You might appreciate this as someone going through it. Hopefully you would, but it's the people are talking about endo a lot more these days. So I think the stigma, or would you agree that the stigma is sort of not totally reduced, but at least people can talk about it now?
Yeah, I mean, I only was aware that I had it in 2020, but I now know that it's something that I've been struggling with since I was 16. So I guess the benefit of more people talking about it now is maybe they don't have to wait that long to figure out what's happening. And I got that book called How to Endo, which Bridget Hustwaite from Triple J, one presented there, released. And it was the first thing of its kind I had ever read, and I think probably that is out there. And that's amazing that, she's also from here and like a young person herself. So that's, definitely encouraging and like validating for me anyway. Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, not great, but you do need connections to sort of for support. And I can imagine people saying, "Oh, what can I do to help you?" Or "I'm so sorry." It doesn't really make it any easier.
It's nice, but it's good to just know that you're not. I think a lot of it may be as well just like for I think women or non-binary people, or just people with endometriosis or anything like that, sort of feel like maybe the vibe of it is just like, oh, it's just like period pain, get on with it. It's like you should be able to get out of your house or your bed if you want to.
Absolutely, you shouldn't have to be crippled.
No.
Bad enough anyway. To be honest.
You just need a break.
So not to move on, but to move on. I don't know if you want to talk about East Endo all night. You sort of, what did inspire? Did we talk really about what inspired you to write the album? It was sort of,
I suppose, maybe got lost on a tangent. Sorry, but
that's okay.
Write music, music that I listen to and music that I'm drawn to is usually people, like I love hearing a song that articulates a feeling that I feel like you might not even know it's a feeling you're having until you're hearing someone sing about it in a song. And that's kind of my favorite thing about music. And so yeah, I try to be as honest as I can in writing, and yeah, some of the songs on there are personal things that I don't like. I'd rather audiences to connect to it however they do and not really worry as much about what my take on it is. But I think a lot of it is also maybe just like relationships really fascinate me, and how different and how difficult they can be. And that's definitely a lot of the content that's on the album. And yeah, going through your early to mid 20s or at any point in your life, just learning a bit more about yourself and being able to, you know, yeah, I know that helps a lot.
No, it does. So you're 26 now, is that right?
Yeah.
How does it feel to be 26 and having your second album out? Or even you've got more than 2 albums released, but how does it feel?
I don't know, really.
Did you ever expect to be 26 and have this much attention on your music, at least?
Not at all. No, it was never a plan to do music. It was always something that I loved, but not something I thought I would pursue at all. So it's constantly blowing my mind.
Well, who would Alice Skye be if she was not a musician?
Well, I moved from country Victoria to the city to study a wildlife degree, and dropped out quite shortly after I started it. So I don't know what I would be doing otherwise.
Well, now we're blessed with your music, and let's keep it going.
I would like that too.
So you mentioned growing up in rural Victoria. You were raised in Horsham. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I wanted to make sure that I had that right. And on the wheat belt, the Victorian wheat belt near Wimmera. Is that correct? So
yeah.
can we talk about the language, the track that you sing in your language?
Yes.
It's now, maybe I'll get you to tell me if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
I can tell you what it's called.
Okay, great.
If that takes the pressure off. It takes the pressure off.
Thank you.
It's called Wergaia Jarlin, is how you say it.
Fantastic. Thank you. And why did you choose to sing in Wergaia? Is that right?
So it's in Wergaia, my grandmother's language. I'm a Wergaia and Wemba Wemba woman, but the Wemba side is sort of more, or I guess the Wergaia side is like my matri. I don't know how to say that word, but all the women.
Yeah.
Like matrilineal or something. I don't know what the word is, but I think I wrote the song when I was my sister and I travelled to Canberra to go to IATSIS, which is an archival place for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander archives, and we were just learning about my family, and there's a dictionary that somebody worked on with my grandmother to document Wergaia language, and so I guess the song, trying to make a long story short, the song, I think, you know, people talk about Aboriginal languages being lost or being dead, but they were very purposefully taken and stopped from being spoken. So I just really wanted to sing something in my language, because I don't think our languages are lost. They're very much here, and they live in the countries that they're from. And that song was very much for an important thing for me, and just something I wanted to do for my family.
Oh, it is a beautiful song. So thank you for having it on the album, and thank you for your words on First Nations languages. They're not lost. And they should be more part of education and things like that. But anyway, I feel like that's a discussion for another day. And also last year, if we could talk about it, the EP you released, the remix EP, which you did with another friend of her story, Alice Ivy. So do you want to talk about it a little bit? Why did you choose those people that you worked with for the album or the EP?
I didn't work with Alice Ivy, so I don't know where that's come from.
How about I ask that question again?
Yeah, go for it. People get our names confused all the time.
So following the album release, Alice, you released a remix EP last December. Can you tell us about it, please?
Sure. It was a fun project to have during lockdown. I think I missed getting together with other artists that I love and going to their shows. So I reached out to June Jones, who's a local Melbourne artist that I adore. I think she writes such clever, sad songs, which is one of my favorite genres. And then there was Lonely Speck, who's a First Nations producer out of Adelaide, and El Shamada, who's also here, also First Nations artist in Melbourne, First Nations from Japan, and Tiva, who's a rapper and a lyricist that I really admire as well. I kind of, honestly, it was just kind of like a fun project for me to ask artists that I really like if they wanted to remix my songs, and thankfully they said yes, and got to release that at the end of last year as just something. I think collaborating with other artists and people is really, it just feels good. Mm-hmm. It feels nice to do.
Would you say that especially yourself, is it nice to collaborate because you're sort of focusing on yourself, on yourself and your music all the time? Or
I think it's also I have the approach that I have, and every artist is different, and I think that's really cool to me to see how other people's brains work, and how they reworked the songs was really just really nice to just kind of showcase it. I guess how other people approach music. And in lockdown and in in Melbourne, the many lockdowns that we had, I just missed getting together with other creative people in that way. So it was cool to do that just online with each other.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be. You had the world's longest lockdown.
Really felt like it.
So being in Melbourne, do you still connect with home and your family and mob? Do you feel connected, or is it different?
It's hard to be in the city and away from the country. my mum still lives back home. I try to get back there as much as I can, which isn't often enough, and definitely wasn't easy in the lockdowns. But I've got my siblings in the city, which is good too, and the mob in Melbourne, like there's so many First Nations people doing so many different things that are, I've got my community here and I've got my family as well. My auntie Eleanor Burke is the chairperson of Europe Justice Commission, which is has just launched, and it's the first kind of official truth-telling process with the government for First Nations people to get together and tell the stories kind of what went down here to even create an Australian government, what happened on the countries that were here before it was named Australia. So yeah, I'm lucky that I've got such a strong, staunch auntie to look up to. Even if we're not together, I feel like I get to just see what she's up to, and it inspires me.
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic program. She must be an awesome lady.
She's my idol, my style icon. She's great.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's what you want in your close family, right?
Yeah.
Also, I'll ask you, do you want to reflect on your summer? You've had a pretty hectic time, summer leading into lovely autumn. So you were playing festivals, winning awards, supporting this band called Midnight Oil. And Connie Barnett.
Yes, it has been and felt pretty wild to go from one extreme to the other. But it was, the shows with Midnight Oil, they were early 2021. I'm trying to remember what year we're even in now, but last year in January. And to see the crowds. Midnight Oil are obviously an iconic band in this country, and I think speak to many generations. Like, they have a really broad audience, and I love that. And the Courtney Barnett crowds, we just finished that tour maybe 2 weeks ago now, and that was my first proper tour in about 2 years. So that was amazing to have that opportunity, and I'm a fan of Courtney Barnett. Her music is she's incredible, great songwriter, and just pulls the nicest crowds. They were so sweet to us when we played. So it was really nice.
And now you're heading on the road again next month. Would you like to talk about the tour? You're finally getting to tour this album.
Yes.
Could you tell us where you're going and what's going to be happening, please?
I can. Yes, after quite a number of postponements, the album tour is going to start May 12th, kicking it off in Canberra, and going to Sydney, Brisbane, Freo, Adelaide, Hobart, which I've never done a headline show, and in Melbourne. So it's the biggest national tour I've ever done, headline national tour I've ever done, and I'm looking forward to it. I think, like we were talking earlier about releasing an album in the pandemic and, you know, not getting to have like a launch show when it sort of released. And yeah, I'm excited to play it on stage in full, and got support, got a young Indigenous sort of experimental artist supporting us at all the shows. He makes, his name's Dimpa, and he makes amazing, yeah, I don't even know how to describe it, but he's just very, yeah, talented, multi-talented. So I'm excited to have that along with us as well.
Mm-hmm. So is Maddie Colville-Walker joining you as well?
Yes, sis Maddie Colville-Walker, Yoda Yoda sis, plays beautiful. She reminds, I don't know, to me, she's kind of like Blackfella Dolly Parton or something. And I love that. So yeah, really excited to have her along as well.
Yeah, she's a friend of Her Story. She's been on the show. She's like a young, lovely lass. And like you've got a lovely, strong careers ahead of you both. And it's nice to see. I mean, I'm probably another decade on top of you guys. But so it's something nice to see coming through, because it hasn't really been really much that has happened until I'd probably say about 5 years ago. I don't know if you agree with that. But anyway, what's next for you?
I'll do this tour next month, and then looking forward to taking some time off to write and possibly release something maybe towards the end of the year, and maybe a bigger body of work next year. Yeah, that's what I want to go on holiday too.
I think you deserve it.
I think everybody does at this point.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, have you been writing during COVID, or?
I didn't. Sorry, I cut you off. I didn't write a lot during the lockdowns. I didn't feel particularly inspired by the pandemic. I found it a really kind of heavy time. I know some people found the isolation really good to sort of put their heads down and get things written, but it's really been this year that I've done a lot of writing, now that things, I find being on the go again, like touring and things like that, yeah, that I'm in my phone notes writing things. I find it helpful to be kind of moving around. So yeah, I'm excited because I've missed the writing process a lot. So I'm excited that it's back.
Yeah, great. I'm excited to hear that too. Well, Alice, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Now, I ask everyone who comes on to request a song. So, one song without any notice.
Would I like to request?
Yeah.
Because it's fresh in my mind. Barker, who is a deadly rapper and also share the same label of Bad Apples, released a song a couple of weeks ago called Fight For Me. And I saw her perform it in Brisbane actually 2 weeks ago, and it's just, yeah, reckon she's doing it like no other. So I reckon that one, please.
Yeah, she's a fierce lady.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. And all the best for your tour. I'm hoping to see you in Sydney. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for your time. And I look forward to hearing and seeing all the great things Alice Skye does.
Thanks very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. And have a lovely evening.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.